Orchestral percussion has always had a special favorite spot for us at ProjectSAM. It has been over 20 years now that we released True Strike, our first orchestral percussion library. And since then we have recorded percussion for a bunch of other libraries, including Lumina and Pandora. Percussion has also been my personal entry into the world of orchestras and brass bands. So we have some experience when it comes to orchestral percussion. And now, after 2 decades, we're pouring all this into a new orchestral percussion library, part of our next generation Lineage Series. Lineage Percussion. With 100% new recordings, Lineage Percussion has been designed from the ground up to be the only orchestral percussion library that you really need. It's very complete, packing 70 individual instruments. It's incredibly dynamic and offers a ton of customization options. Lineage Percussion was recorded in the same beautiful concert hall as all of our Symphobia libraries, in the Broadcasting Music Center in the town of Hilversum, the Netherlands. And this gives the library an extremely satisfying, warm but powerful sound, the ProjectSAM sound. In this video I will show you the Pro edition of Lineage Percussion. It features the complete instrument list as well as all of the microphone options available. When exploring a new library, I find that a multi or a kit is often a great place to start, because it gives you a broad sense of the sound and capabilities of the library. With the official launch of our orchestral Lineage series, Lineage Percussion has been completely redesigned. It now features a high-resolution interface powered by Contact 8, along with several new additions, including a dedicated mixer view, a guided setup, and library-wide user preferences. We've also introduced a free edition of Lineage Percussion, offering a curated selection of instruments and sounds for you to try out. Here's one of the included kits, the Independence Kit. One of our main goals with Lineage Percussion was to create the most dynamic orchestral percussion library available. We're proud of the dynamic range we've captured, from the gentlest pianissimo to a thunderous fortissimo. The Independence Kit combines 5 instruments, 2 snare ensembles, 2 gran cassas and piatti, concert cymbals. These are shown in the tabs at the top and mirrored on the stage using the same color coding. Each instrument can be repositioned on the stage, taking advantage of the library's multiple microphone sets. Moving the ensemble around the concert hall has an enormous impact on the sound and can change the character of the library dramatically. New in this version of Lineage Percussion is the dedicated mixer view, which presents a vertical layout of all loaded instruments. It includes convenient controls for solo, mute, gain and panning, making it easier than ever to shape your percussion ensemble. Let's switch to a very different kit, Melodic Octaves. This kit features 5 instruments from the pitched percussion family, marimba, vibraphone, glockenspiel, and 2 sets of crotales. As before, these instruments are shown both on the virtual stage and in the mixer. In this case, however, I've loaded the entire kit using the pre-mixed microphone set. The pre-mix mic is a beautifully balanced, ready-to-go blend of the library's 3 individual mic positions. It's a great sounding, lightweight option that uses significantly less RAM compared to using the full stage. You can recognize instruments using the premix mic by the black dot on the stage and the dark fade around it on the grid. Even in premix mode, you can still position instruments left to right on the stage. But if you move an instrument vertically, it will automatically switch to stage mode. reloading the full set of individual microphone channels for that instrument. Adaptive sync, our time-saving feature for easily aligning crescendos, rolls and swells to your project's tempo, is of course back. For Lineage Percussion, we recorded natural crescendo rolls in a wide range of lengths. An adaptive sync then adjusts playback so that the musical end of each sample, the hit point, lands exactly where it should, perfectly in line with your track. A great example is the stereo cymbals kit. As you can see, this setup includes 2 suspended cymbal sets and 2 tom-tom sets. In Lineage Percussion, the articulation mapping is consistent across all instruments. Single hits are always mapped to the C and D keys, mod wheel tremolos to G, crescendo rolls to A, these use adaptive sync, and in some cases a dampened crescendo roll is available on A sharp. When I trigger the A key, you'll notice additional parameters appear below, and these are the adaptive sync controls, which are especially useful in a percussion library. Adaptive sync lets you set the length of a crescendo roll in beats, so it fits musically without the need for manual adjustments. No more nudging around to line up the timing. It will also stay in sync perfectly, even if you change your project's tempo. I can also set adaptive sync to downbeat mode, which ensures the end of the roll always aligns with the downbeat, the first beat of the next bar. If needed, I can easily add extra bars here to extend the timing. If you'd like to know more about this time-saving feature, be sure to check out our dedicated adaptive sync video. New in Lineage Percussion is the guided setup, which appears the first time you load a single instrument. It walks you through the key features of the library and allows you to set your user preferences. And what's especially useful is that these preferences are then applied to the entire library. Let me show you how this works. This screen gives a quick overview of the available microphone options. The controls on the left are fully functional. You can play the mapped notes below on the piano and compare the different mic perspectives in real time. Let's say I want the library to default to the full positioning stage with all 3 mics loaded, and I prefer a nice distant ambient sound from the back of the concert hall. I can set that up here, and this preference will now be saved. The next time I load a single instrument, whether from the browser or using one of the builders, this will be my default mic mix. Keep in mind that these preferences apply only when loading new instruments. They won't affect any instruments already in use in your existing projects. The guided setup is a great way to customize Lineage Percussion to your needs, delivering a more personalized experience from the very start. Let's explore the main library a bit further. You've already heard a few of the kits, so now I'd like to preview some of the individual instruments for you, starting with timpani. Timpani is one of the largest instruments in the library. It includes 2 mallet types, long and dampened single hits, tremolo, adaptive sync crescendo rolls, and a range of special effects, all mapped across the full playing range. By default, I can switch between long and dampened hits using the sustain pedal. But I can also choose any other controller to do this, or simply use the interface. This applies to all options on this screen. The tremolo samples are mapped to the modulation wheel by default. We spent a lot of time fine-tuning the transitions between the dynamic layers to ensure they feel smooth and natural. Of course, you can program crescendo rolls manually using tremolos and mod wheel automation. And in more dynamically complex situations, that might be the best approach. But we believe that a real recorded crescendo roll performed by a live player simply sounds more organic and powerful, especially when building up to a fortissimo. A recorded roll delivers a stronger, punchier impact. And that's exactly why we created Adaptive Sync, to make it easier to work with these expressive pre-recorded performances, without sacrificing timing flexibility. And finally, here are some of the special effects we recorded for timpani. Let's load up one of the snare ensembles. You can switch between snares on and snares off, either using the interface again or key switches. And here's a neat trick. If I shift-click the snare icons, both variations will be selected and mapped side by side on the keyboard. Snares on the left, and snares off on the right. This bar above the keyboard is the Soundsbar, and it shows which articulations are mapped from left to right on the piano. In the Soundsbar, I can unload individual articulations by holding Command or Control and clicking them. You'll also see this small icon whenever an articulation supports Adaptive Sync. You may have noticed that the Lineage Percussion interface includes its own keyboard display, separate from Kontact's built-in keyboard. This custom keyboard comes with some helpful mapping tools. In the Performance view, which is where I am now, I can drag the entire instrument to a different spot on the keyboard, like this. And holding Shift down snaps the mapping to octaves, which is very useful. In the Mapping view, I get much more control. I can now drag individual articulations to different keys, giving me precise control over how I want to play or trigger them, but more on that later. Let's load up another instrument, the marimba. This is a great example of the dynamic expression captured in Lineage Percussion. You can really feel the presence of the player and hear the character of the concert hall come through. Let me move the instrument around on the stage. That's beautiful. We paid close attention to the microphone placement, and I think it really shows. It makes the marimba, and actually the entire library, suitable across a wide range of musical styles and production environments. Many instruments in Lineage Percussion were recorded in multiple variations. For example, there are 5 tempo blocks, 3 wood blocks, 2 bongos, and 4 rototoms. For these types of instruments, we've included special set files that combine all variations into a single playable layout. So in the rototom set, all 4 rototoms are conveniently mapped across the keyboard. These sets are really useful, especially when you want quick access to all variations without loading them separately. Just like with kits, the individual instruments are shown in the tabs at the top. Let's check out the xylophone. Truth be told, while it was a popular choice at the time, the xylophone in the old True Strike library lacked some depth. Lineage Percussion brings a massive upgrade with a far richer dynamic range and way more extensive round robin sampling. In fact, most single hits in Lineage Percussion include 10 round robins per dynamic layer. You can see them in action here in the mapping view. By default, round robin behavior is set to random, but you can switch to cyclic playback if preferred, or even disable specific round robins for more control. Something very different, Gran Casa. Let's load up Gran Casa 2, which includes two distinct mallet types, a hard felt mallet and a wooden mallet. And once again, let me move the instrument around on the concert stage, letting the room shape the sound. The instruments I've played for you so far are some of the larger ones in the library, but Lineage Percussion also features some really nice smaller instruments, and they are great for building rhythmic patterns. Let's put something together. Let's do one more. Technically not a percussion instrument, but there was no way we could leave it out. The celesta. And we're glad we didn't, because it turned out beautifully. We've now explored some single instruments and some kits. But Lineage Percussion also features two tools called builders. One for creating your own kits with unpitched percussion, and one for creating melodic percussion ensembles. These kit builders are essentially your sandbox environment. You start with an empty setup, a clean slate with no instruments loaded, and you can add instruments at the top here. You can load up to 15 instruments in total. As I add more instruments, they are automatically distributed across both the stage, from left to right, and on the keyboard. This auto distribution feature can be enabled or disabled in the settings. You can also swap out instruments, for example, replacing PRT1 with PRT2, quickly and easily. The feature I showed earlier, where you can shift-drag instruments in octave steps, becomes especially useful here. It makes it incredibly easy to give each instrument a logical place on the keyboard. Now, I've made a bit of a random mess here, so let's clear this out and build something more musical. I'll stack both snare ensembles, the lowest tom-tom, and both groundcassas. And just like that, I've got a musically powerful ensemble going already, thanks to the consistent articulation mapping. All the essential articulations are right where you'd expect them, including a fully synchronized adaptive sync roll on the A key, available across all 5 drums. Now let's simplify this kit a bit. I'm going to unload all articulations except for the hits, leaving just the C and D keys active. Now I'm going to add one more instrument, the cricket. Obviously, I don't want it stacked on top of the drums. That wouldn't make much sense, so I'll head into the mapping view and move it up to the G key. Using the locators, I will also stretch the playable range a little bit. And note that this does not affect the pitch, since it's an unpitched percussion instrument. It simply gives me more keys to trigger the same sound, making it easier to play on the keyboard. And now we've built ourselves a custom kit that can do this. Pretty cool. Lineage Percussion is now available in 3 editions: Pro, Core and Free. The new Free edition offers a curated set of instruments and sounds, and gives you a hands-on preview of key features such as the positioning stage and adaptive sync. The Pro edition gives you the full experience. 70 instruments, all articulations, 3 mic sets plus the beautiful pre-mixed mic, the positioning stage and both of the kit builders. This is the version I've been using throughout this video. The more affordable Core edition is designed for the emerging composer. It includes 45 instruments, a slightly reduced articulation set, and the pre-mixed mic only to keep things lightweight. It does not include the stage or the kit builders, but it does come with a selection of ready-made kits. As mentioned before, the new Free edition offers a curated selection of instruments that we bundled into 2 playable kits, as well as a kit builder to try out. The Free edition also allows you to try out the full positioning stage, adaptive sync, and the various mapping options of Lineage Percussion. I hope this video gave you a solid overview of the depth and quality of the Lineage Percussion library, part of our next generation orchestral Lineage series. Of course, there is much more to explore, more instruments and more features than I have covered in this video. So for audio demos, instrument lists, a Pro versus Core comparison, upgrade options, please visit our website. My name is Maarten of ProjectSAM. I thank you for watching and I wish you happy composing.